Hey there, if you're watching this episode of The Patch on YouTube, just want to remind you we stream live Wednesday afternoons exclusively for first members at roosterteeth.com. If you'd like a 30-day free trial, just click on the link below and check it out. See you there. First. Hey everyone, welcome to The Patch. This week brought to you by Loot Crate and NatureBox. Thank you to Loot Crate and NatureBox for sponsoring this episode of The Patch. I was looking at the wrong monitor. I didn't see the logos. They were only over there. Hey, hi, how you doing? I'm Gus.
I'm Ashley.
I'm Ray.
I'm Ryan.
I'm so happy that Ray could join us.
Stallion 83. More people know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, more people would know you as Stallion 83.
Definitely.
Okay.
100%.
And for those who don't know, why would they know that?
Brag a little bit.
There you go.
1.4 million gamers.
You're up to 1.4 million. I remember when you
almost.
passed a million.
I'm almost.
And
there.
that was that's just insane to me. Just even that, because that's like
that was probably the last time I saw you. You were just under a million.
I was like just under.
Yeah, you were really close.
Quite get it in Austin, which pissed me off. When I went out. I was so pissed.
I could tell you were just like focused.
Yeah.
And,
Oh god, that was terrible. But I got it, and
more.
And more.
And almost 400,000 beyond that?
Almost. It's a lot easier though nowadays.
I'm
Because there's all these indie games. All the ID Xbox games.
So,
they're like $5.
Is it? And they don't care. They're like, here's 2,000 gamer score. Way to scratch your nose.
Yeah.
Do they give you a full 1,000 gamer score for indie games as well now?
Absolutely.
I remember 360 era, the XBLA games were more limited. They had, what was it?
200.
Like 200?
Yeah.
It was 200 and then they changed it to 400. So you had these games that were harder that you could only get 200 gamer score off of. Now you can get 1,000.
You just
and
write
they're
those
actually
off?
easier. Like Geometry Wars.
Yeah.
That was tough.
Or
Tough
Inside
200.
was actually a good one too recently for
1,000.
1,000 points.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was the only difficult thing in that one was you had to go through and get some of the collectibles, right?
Yeah, but they were not that hard to find. Now, the more recent one that really was unpleasant to play was The Park. Did you go through that one?
Oh, actually, you know what? I just started playing that last night in my
sorry.
hotel.
I haven't played that
I'm
one.
so sorry.
I got on the Swan thing, looked at the drunken squirrels, got like a 100 gamer score.
Yeah, we did a Let's Watch in that. It's just a woman trying to find her kid like in a park. It's supposed to be kind of like a horror thriller. It's so bad. And that swan thing, it's like you get on a little swan ride. It's basically like It's a Small World After All sort of play. Yeah. It turns out it's unskippable. And Jeff accidentally got on it twice.
Oh.
So we just left the room.
You say accidentally.
It was kind of like, I wonder if you can... Oh, fuck.
It makes me think about, did you ever play Heavy Rain?
Not yet.
There's a sequence early in that game where you have to find your son who's lost in the mall, and you run around the mall pressing X to say his name.
Is this the Jason
that's
thing?
When you do the same thing.
So
you
then,
keep saying the name of the kid.
So then, someone made like a parody Flash game called Press X to Jason, where you just walk around in a mall pressing X to say Jason.
I wondered because every time people talk about Heavy Rain, they start just going, Jason, Jason. I'm like, what the hell does this mean?
Yeah, that's not a spoiler at all. Great game. You should absolutely play it. That happens like in the first 5 minutes of the game.
Well, it was already spoiled for me, so people yell Jason a lot.
Is it really a spoiler if it's the first 5 minutes?
I don't know. I didn't know I didn't know it was the first 5 minutes. So you just told me. You just spoiled it.
Maybe the first 10 minutes.
So you thought you were
This is later when you're
This is it.
but you weren't.
Sean.
This is that is a
great.
different thing you're looking for. Probably shouldn't have shown that one actually.
You look for so many people. But so you were in Austin. The last time was here for South by?
The Titanfall.
That was the Titanfall 2 launch.
Titanfall 2, maybe? I don't know.
The one where Gavin got super drunk and got kicked out.
Sorry, Gavin.
Well, what?
Oh, you didn't know about this?
Gavin got kicked out?
He got like super drunk and everyone
British
was like,
prick.
Gavin, go home.
No, I'm just kidding.
Get out of here.
He is.
So,
Okay.
No, I work
fair
with him
enough.
all the time. No, I understand. Yeah, no, that's fine.
in more contemporary times,
Right.
we've been kind of skirting around
Super contemporary.
the issue. The Sony just had their big meeting today where they officially unveiled PlayStation 4 Pro.
Leo.
Underwhelming game.
And PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
Slim.
Right.
No
No.
VR.
Right.
PlayStation 4.
Slim.
It's slim, but not, yo.
It'll always be slim to us.
I like the look of the launch PS4 more than I like the look of the Slim.
It's the same thing, right?
It's like more rounded now.
Did they round it off? I thought it was just flatter.
It just seems more squashy.
And I think like the corners. Can we pull up? Is there a side by side graphic? No, not. I mean of the PS4 Slim and the launch PS4. Because
So
I
the
feel like
Pro just has an extra layer on it. Like
Yeah.
yeah, it's like
So
it's like a sandwich.
It was funny when we saw like there were the leaks coming out of Foxconn that had it at the 3 layers,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone was photoshopping it into sandwiches and all kinds of stuff. I was like, yeah, that's really funny. I hope that's not. Oh, it is. No, it is.
No,
it
that's
is
like a
legitimately
club
it.
sandwich.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
just
It's like
one
we have
more
a
layer.
PS4. It needs more power. Let's just tape another
Add another
PS4
layer on.
onto it.
The
Duct tape
Baconator
it on
and then
there,
the
we got
double Baconator,
That
basically.
said, I know a lot of people criticized the look of the Xbox One when it released, saying it was really big and it was really ugly and it looked like
And
a
they
VCR.
weren't wrong.
They weren't wrong, but you know what? I put that on a shelf and pay zero attention to it. So the PS4 Pro is, I think they didn't release any official specs or anything like that, but the leaks that kind of eventuated to be pretty much correct also placed it like 10 pounds.
Whoa.
It is heavy.
Really?
Did you see it in Andrew House's arms?
No.
It looked like he was carrying a 3-year-old.
Wow, I mean, you never know if you want to play a game or kill a yak. I mean, you want to have your options open.
Right. You need to be able to bludgeon people.
Here's the thing about doing a stream like that.
It's not the greatest comparison in the world here, but I've got. I don't know if
you
we
got
can we can switch to it. You got me? Anybody?
Bueller?
Nope.
No,
Sean?
Getting set up.
Nope.
Maybe not.
Does it look
I
better
don't even
than
see
the
panic in
Jason?
there. There's
The
not
lane
doing
I
it.
see
green.
this on the preview.
Nope,
Jason?
it's almost there.
Jason.
That's
There we go.
That's the launch PS4. You see, it's got the
Okay.
sharp corner,
Okay.
and then that's the slim.
Okay, now I see
Oh.
what you mean.
It does have a bevel.
I
And
do
it's
see what
yeah,
you
it's also the launch PS4 is thicker, and then this one's like more squat, and the USB ports are far apart.
Squashy.
Yeah, why are they
reason.
underneath? It's like look
Yeah.
like they're hard to get to.
That's
USB
how
ports.
the launch one was the same way. It's tucked into that little.
I don't know anything about PlayStation.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
They have trophies. They're not
They
as
have
good as
trophies.
achievements because they have no score.
It's exactly
take
the
that,
same.
Greg Miller.
Exactly the same thing.
There is an interesting thing with the Pro though is so the Xbox One S just got rid of touch sensitive buttons, and everyone said, "Hooray! Finally! Thank God! They're a really cool idea, but they were clearly designed by people who never tested them in real world environments." Yeah, this one's got touch sensitive buttons.
Does it? Is it
Yeah.
buried in that little inset though? Maybe that would make it better.
Maybe.
You said the Pro has touch sensitive buttons.
Yeah.
You know what it doesn't have? Ultra HD Blu-ray player.
Yeah, that's weird
Really?
to me.
No 4K
Very weird to
Blu-ray
me.
drive.
What?
So it'll do 4K. It does 4K gaming. It does 4K video support, but not HD Blu-ray or Ultra HD Blu-ray. Only 4K streaming, which
So you'll be
sounds
able to
like a
stream like
bitch of streaming
Netflix
anyway.
and tons of other video
Yeah.
streaming systems, but you can't watch a physical 4K disc.
Doesn't
Suck it, physical
Sony
media.
own
Yes, they
Blu-ray?
do.
Okay.
And
I think that's
doesn't
initial
the
reports. I saw it reported on
Xbox
Engadget.
One
They got-
S does have an Ultra
Does it?
HD Blu-ray.
Yep, it does.
So
It definitely does.
It's weird to me that Microsoft has support for, the more recent, more cutting edge Blu-ray than
Or maybe it's
Sony does.
Maybe
What
it's
about
more
the-
cutting edge to just ditch physical media. I'm all for that. I don't want to
That's
own
a
physical
lot
devices.
of data, though.
Yeah,
You're
that is
pushing
true.
around a lot of
Yeah.
data.
I do prefer watching movies off of a disc as opposed to streaming. It looks
Yeah,
much better.
even then, anytime you stream it, you're going to get artifacts, even if you're somehow managing to stream Ultra HD.
Yeah,
I mean, some of us
I
have
don't
pretty
mind
good internet
streaming,
connections.
but it seems like 4K streaming.
Sadly, Netflix
It's gonna
doesn't.
take a
Yeah.
little time.
Did you see the PS4 Elite controller though?
It's weird, right?
Wait, that's like a
that
third
was a,
party
Yeah, it's a
that was
third
a
party.
third party,
Yeah,
so
okay.
it's not actually from Sony. But
Good,
it's-
because it is. That's why I started to wonder, because if you look at the side by side between the PS4 Elite controller and the Xbox Elite controller, they're identical.
It's just some. I'm sure it's just some shitty knockoff. I'm sure
Yeah,
like
it is.
what there's like.
You think so?
I'm sure whatever factory in China that one of these third party
Yeah, I think so.
controllers uses saw it and was like, oh,
Yeah.
we can.
I think
make
you can use the
controller.
parts
Oh,
from
really?
the PlayStation and the
I
Xbox
believe it.
One
It looks
together.
so identical.
It's like
If
$80
you,
though,
If you
I
guys can
think.
find the
Here,
picture,
I've
I
got
don't
a-
know.
Way
hold on, I'm
cheaper
gonna
than
send
the
you guys an
Xbox
image
Elite,
now.
But
Wow, really? It's only 80.
I think it's 80. It has to be a third party.
Yeah, it's awesome that my internet doesn't fucking work here.
Did Sony announce it at their conference?
No.
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 Okay, so someone.
No,
this
they
is
did
a-
not.
Yeah,
This
it's
was not
interesting.
their thing.
That's I had just heard Jack show me a picture of it. He's like, yeah, this is the new PS4 Elite controller. I was like,
No, it's just some
I mean,
third-party
I
bullshit.
would try it out. The Xbox One Elite controller
There it
is
is.
way
There
better.
we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, I'm sure it's just some knockoff.
Even the D-pad, it's like that
Yeah,
satellite
yeah.
looking
Exact
deal.
same
It's
thing.
Yeah.
exactly the same.
And no PlayStation logo on the button in the middle for some reason, just a silver
Trademarked.
dot. Yeah, that again, which makes me think it's just some third party bullshit. thing.
I mean, if it feels anything like the Xbox One Elite controller, I'm all
I doubt it
for
does.
It's made with the same parts.
Yeah, but on the outside, not on the inside.
Yeah, it's
Like the
definitely
clickiness.
third party.
It might like you can buy the little parts for the Xbox One controller, like at GameStop. They like I think they're Power X or something like that. They're actually not the same parts though. Like there's thumbsticks, they're just not the quality rubber that comes on the Xbox
Interesting.
One Elite. It's just not the same. So that's probably kind of like that too. Even though they fit,
That'd be sad.
it's not going to be the same quality because everything on that controller is pretty high quality.
It's
I mean,
nice.
It's a nice controller.
real nice controller.
And it takes
Yeah,
a while
so-
to wear out too. 'Cause
Well,
regular controllers
yes
you can
and no.
wear out. The sticks will wear out, but
The
you can
left,
replace them.
I don't know. Did you? So you have an Elite controller?
I have an Elite.
The left stick on for yours, does that get real loose? Because we've got, I think pretty much everyone at Achievement Hunter has one because they were nice enough to give us one, and I think everybody's left stick, just
Wow.
the magnet in it is very loose. Like
I
if
haven't-
you shake it, that thing's just gonna fly off.
I haven't had that problem yet. I've put a lot of hours in that thing too. That's the only controller I've used since like October. So
It's not like we're pulling them off and on all the time. It's
Yeah.
just we're using it.
well, yeah. If everybody's doing that, it must be some.
Although I
something
feel like
going
you
there.
guys might be particularly violent.
Yeah. You probably use
we're
it more
nice
than
to our
most
Elite
people.
controllers though because we like them so
So
much.
apparently the PlayStation 4 Elite wireless controller was listed briefly on Target, but they've delisted it from their website. You can't even find it anymore.
Yeah,
so
it
who
looks
knows?
like-
Who knows what the actual story is?
It looked like it was an $80 off-brand controller. It had like back paddles, groove D-pad, customization options.
Yeah, the back pedals on it were exactly the same as the Elite as well.
Yep, those
Yeah,
were
but
interchangeable
it
for
says it's
sure
definitely
with the
100%
Xbox
not a Sony thing.
I mean, it couldn't have been
But I
any
don't know
worse
who
than
it
that
is.
Razer Elite knockoff, which was
Haven't seen
this.
that one.
Oh man, we have one over in the Achievement Hunter office. So I don't think it was wireless. Cost the same as the Elite. Had extra buttons on it, but a few of them were in awkward to reach locations, and it was a cheap plastic shell that it came with foam like sticker on grip pads that you had to put on yourself.
That's weird.
Yeah.
It was a train wreck
Nah.
of a
It is,
controller.
yeah.
No.
But isn't Sony making an Elite controller?
I mean,
There was patents for it, I believe.
we were expecting an announcement at this PlayStation meeting along with everything else. They haven't said anything. That's not to say they aren't working on something, but it didn't get announced today. So maybe they'll announce something at TGS. Maybe they'll save it for their own event in December. Not really sure.
It doesn't seem like the Pro would ship with it because of the price.
On the other hand, it seems like that, like, because that's high-end hardware, it's intended for like a very, very specific high-end premium demographic.
Right.
That would be the people they would ship it with, or the people. Let's ship
So they're
it
only
with
charging
those
$400
people.
for it,
But
which I don't think we mentioned.
So-
But yeah, $400
Yeah,
for the
so
Pro.
it is lower than expected. I think we're expecting like 450, 500, and it is 400. So that's a bit lower.
I do want to make a quick comment here. I'm reading Twitter here on hashtag the patch, and according to Sean McGregor, this is unconfirmed, no link. All he wrote was, Andrew House just said they'll be able to. There's a grammatical error. Andrew House just said that they'll be able to 4K Blu-rays via update, focusing on games right now. So if anybody has a source for that or can send me a link, I'd be
Why
very curious
would
to
that
see
be
that.
a thing? Why
Yeah.
would you have a firmware update standing between you and being able to play physical media if your hardware is capable?
Right.
I mean,
that's why I
That
want a
makes
source
sense.
before
Yeah.
I totally believe
it does
that.
happen though. I mean, they are pushing out.
2016.
Oh,
Updates
that-
fix
They're,
everything.
they're
Day
pushing
one
out an
patch.
update
First
next
thing
week to
firmware
enable
updates.
HDR for all current PlayStation 4 consoles like next week. So
that
it can
was
be done.
unexpected.
Yeah,
But
so
I think as far as the physical side of things,
there's
that's
an example.
well, physical media side of things, that's different. Like because presumably then the drive in there can already play ultra
Right.
HD
It
4K
just-
Has the
Blu-rays, and
capacity.
they just haven't
They just
turned
don't
the
support it
flag
yet.
on.
Maybe it crashes something super hard.
Maybe.
It's
They're
not
still,
ready.
still working on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the timing on this was definitely unexpected. I didn't expect the Slim or the Pro to come out so quickly.
Yeah, I feel like a dumbass because I bought a PS4 about a month ago.
Well, I think, like I said, I like the look of the launch PS4 more, and
Thanks, Mo.
At
I like
first,
it, Mo.
I really wanted to like pre-order a PS4 Pro. Then I got to thinking about it. It's like I don't even have a 4K TV. Like I wouldn't see any benefit from it.
Well, that was kind of the thing. So I don't know if were they streaming that at 4K?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
So you couldn't
I don't know.
conceivably watch it
Does-
from home and get
does-
any feel for the
No,
advancement.
you stream quite a bit. Does Twitch support 4K?
Twitch does not.
Don't
Twitch
think
does
they
not,
do.
okay.
No.
Well,
Yeah, I
I
think
don't think
YouTube.
nobody supports 4K live streaming.
No, yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
it's very difficult, like when you think about it, to market something. Say like it looks so much better. Look at this 4K.
You can't even
and
get
not
it.
at 4K because like people can't actually
See it. Yeah, you can't see the difference at all. Twitch just got to like 60 frames per second, so I'm sure they're kind of
And they're like,
behind on the
"Woo!"
4K.
Sort of 1080.
Yeah,
Maybe
but sort
people
of.
can watch it.
In some of the demos for the Pro, I saw that there were additional graphical flourishes. So like you can't see the 4K, you can't see the HDR, but occasionally I'd see like more greenery or more background elements being
now
rendered.
with extra ferns.
Well, I think I saw flowers.
Now with extra
Repeatedly.
flowers.
Look,
Yes.
I'll pay for those flowers.
Hey.
Does it have the HDR support, the PlayStation?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's
the-
on par
The Pro
with
will.
the S.
No, all of them will,
Pro
starting next week.
Oh,
but
okay.
they're rolling out a firmware update for the current hardware to support HDR too.
Oh.
Did they say how many teraflops?
They
No,
did
they
not.
didn't.
They
What?
didn't
How
mention
many-
the flops.
We need the flops.
Gotta know the flops,
all about
guys.
the
There was
flops.
How
speculation.
will I know I'm not getting the most flops?
Well, there was speculation that Scorpio
Between
was
4 and
more
6.
powerful. So it seemed like Sony did not mention any specific technical specs.
Playing it close to the vest.
They're keeping it close.
But it's out now instead of next year.
Well, that's fair. Well, no, it's out in November.
Oh, it's
right?
out in November. It's out
Yeah.
sooner. It's got a year head start, essentially.
So HDR was like a big thing between like the S and the PlayStation, the original PlayStation console. But now that every PlayStation console is going to have it with the firmware update, that's one up in Xbox a little bit there.
it does for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the Xbox One S has it, but most people
Yeah.
probably at this point still have the original launch Xbox
That's a
One.
weird feature to get excited about now. I mean, because HDR has been around forever in gaming. PC gaming, but
Ryan, at this point, we get excited about whatever console manufacturers tell us to get excited about.
that's fair.
Do you remember being excited about flops before maybe
Man,
the last
yes,
6
I'm
months?
super. I love the flops.
I say it mockingly, though.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
know,
man,
but like,
have
but
I
it
got a
is-
feature for you? It's called bump mapping. It's amazing.
But it
God
does seem
raised.
like what the important technical thing is. That whatever they're fighting over, that we start comparing and saying like, oh well, this one does this. I don't know, does this one do this? A lot of times that's done without any knowledge of
Yeah.
like what it is specifically. It's just like, well, there's more of it, so that's better.
Yeah, we've moved beyond CPU cycles, RAM speed,
Gosh.
or like even classifications of RAM to now like a more abstract measurement.
Yeah, like
That's
now
the world
it's
we
all
live in.
flops, teraflops.
Let me read this thing here.
Megabyte hard
Okay.
drives back in the
God.
day. It's like
Megabytes.
Megabytes.
Want to remind everyone this episode of The Patch is brought to you by Loot Crate. Looking for gear, collectibles, houseware, and more from your favorite pop culture franchise? We've got you covered. Loot Crate offers a range of geek and gamer items for less than $20 a month. Want to bring your loot to the next level? Get a bigger box with even bigger loot with Loot Crate DX. I almost screwed that up. Get ready for September's high-octane theme, Speed. This month's Loot Crate has a high-octane assortment of goodies from Batman, CW's The Flash, and Arrow, Battlestar Galactica, Iron Man, and Gone in 60 Seconds. If you have a style need, you'll love the Speed. I messed that up. If you have a style need, you'll love the Speed Lootwear collection, featuring Sonic socks for when you gotta go fast, a Transformers wearable for your world-saving needs, a winning Mario Kart tee, and more. This Lootwear collection is gonna zoom away quick. You have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate. And when the cutoff happens, that's it. It's over. Gotta wait another month. So make sure you head to lootcrate.com/patch, enter code PATCH, save $3 off any new subscription. That's lootcrate.com/patch, promo code PATCH, save $3 and get some fast stuff. So speed over there and quickly do it.
Good
It's
call
like,
to action.
Thumbs up.
It's like they went through my diary, being like, "You want some Arrow stuff? Sweet. You also want Battlestar Galactica? We got you."
Sonic socks.
We too remember that show.
Yeah, that's a very old diary. That's not one of the, that's definitely not one of the recent ones.
It has
but
not been
yes.
updated in a while.
So we've been pretty busy today with various recordings and various live streams. There was also the Apple stream earlier, which I want to talk a little bit about a little later. So at first I really didn't
Who
have
needs headphones?
a lot of time to digest.
They still have headphones.
I didn't have a lot of time to
Spikes.
digest the Sony the presser until like I started reading some of like Greg Miller's tweets and his reaction to it. And I think he had a tweet that was like, I guess I'm not going to pre-order one since I don't have a 4K TV. Like I was so gung ho ready to jump on board, and then it wasn't until I read that and had like that moment of clarity. It's like, oh right, that's not for me. So
It
it's like
won't do
I
you
guess
any good,
eventually
yeah.
at some point, down the road I'll get it. I don't know. I'm happy with my life.
Was his first tweet, my shirt's off? Was his second tweet, my nipples are rubbed on the TV? Was his third tweet, I'm sad now?
Yes, that's
Okay.
exactly how it
That
happened.
seems like the logical progression for him.
I mean, yeah, pretty much.
I'm trying to think. Did we miss it? I will say I was happy. I thought the presser was going to be a lot longer. It was only about 45 minutes.
It was very compact.
But I felt like they kind of rehashed some things. So
Well-
it's like we saw a lot of gameplay we'd seen already. Well, I guess now it was
but it was
fancier.
in pro mode.
And then at the end,
which
there was like
none of us can
Yeah, you
really
can't
tell a
even
difference
tell. You're
on
like,
because
more
we couldn't
burns.
see the 4K.
I mean, flowers.
at the end there was a trailer that recapped all of the footage that they had shown throughout the thing.
I appreciate
but-
the TLDR,
There was
Or
Mass Effect
TLDW.
Andromeda gameplay.
well,
which is reportedly available online now. You can watch it post stream in like
You can watch
20
Rider
more.
walk.
21
show
something
more?
p.
yeah, that
And
was the
it's in one
slowest
piece.
gameplay I've ever seen.
Yeah. Use a little jetpack thing.
PS4 Pro specs revealed: 4.2 teraflops.
I don't know. If
There
Ah.
it is. Mm-mm,
6 and
insufficient.
4.
But that's a lot more. I think the current PS4, the launch PS4 is 1.4.
1.4 or 1.6? I don't care.
I think 1.6
It's
and the
about
Xbox
that,
One
yeah.
is 1.4.
Yeah.
I think you are correct.
I'd say, yeah, I remembered 6s and 4s getting thrown around a lot.
So basically, the Scorpio is going to be a PlayStation 4 more flops
Then,
than the.
But you gotta
the
wait.
Pro.
but you got
That's
to wait
so
a
many
year.
flops.
That's a lot of flops.
Not a whole year,
But
right?
I don't know what
We
that
don't know.
means.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's well. So here's the thing. Here we go. What the hell is a teraflop anyway?
It's a trillion floating point operations.
That is correct.
Per second.
It's floating
Everyone
point
knows that.
operation.
Yeah.
Of course we do. So, what is a floating point operation? It's a basic
a
unit of
math unit.
computational power. When applied to the AMD graphics technology at the heart of the Microsoft and Sony consoles, the calculation is really simple. You'll multiply the amount of shader cores in the GPU by its clock speed. Elementary, right?
Yeah.
With AMD hardware, you'll find 64 shaders per compute unit. Xbox One has 12 CUs, PS4 has 18, giving us a total of 768 and 1152 shaders. The clock speeds. I can't. I'm done. I'm out. So this is not basic at all.
Yeah, I'm more confused than I
It's
was
just
before.
the number of calculations per second.
It's,
they
yeah,
can do.
how much math can it do in its head?
Yeah.
Or in its
Everything
little
is math.
silicon.
Okay, so it's better at math. Got it.
Yes. And essentially everything about a game is math.
It is, yes.
Pretty much,
Because
yeah.
it's digital.
Yes.
It's not emotional.
There's texels and voxels. And
But yeah, so I'm happy, if nothing else, just to see Mass Effect Andromeda gameplay. It wasn't very much.
It was a
but
tiny little sliver, and there
That
was
was
no
a-
space whatsoever.
that was like less than a teaser, right? I mean, that
No,
was just,
we've
here
only
it is. I
had
haven't seen it
teasers
yet.
up until now. We actually
This
finally
is
see the
actually-
game moving.
Now there was a,
Did
I
ya?
guess like
Is this
kind
supposed to
of
be in pro
gameplay
mode, or-
trailer
Yes.
Yes.
at
Okay,
at
this is pro mode.
E3 prior, but this is the first time we're seeing what is theoretically raw live gameplay, or
does
I
it
mean,
look
if not
like
live,
Tron?
at least like
Pre-alpha.
recorded live. And it looks really gorgeous. It does. The lack of HUD is interesting.
I think that it's just because it's pre-alpha.
Yeah,
we
that's pre-alpha.
we were kind of speculating about this earlier, and maybe like they didn't have the UI might not be finished.
because once you move to 4K, you have to rescale everything too. So, but that being said, I imagine Andromeda is being built natively for 4K. Mm-hmm. So, I would.
It's got a March release date, I believe, or is it like early next year?
It's theoretically March, but we'll
Mm-hmm.
see. I imagine we're going to get a lot more details in a few months because there's nothing BioWare loves more than N7 Day. What are they going to do now? The back of that guy's suit, it's not N7, it's G2 now. They're going to have to update
Isn't
their
that a Gatorade
merch
thing?
lines.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
It is, right? Gatorade G2.
Maybe that's a sponsor. For
Yeah,
Mass
maybe
Effect.
so.
it's a
Maybe.
huge integration.
Keep
Yeah, it's the
hydrated.
low-calorie version.
It sounds like a government summit.
So it's been
Right.
it's been
It's not like there's like the G8 and there's like
Yeah.
the G whatever and there's like the G2. It's just a couple of guys getting coffee.
Yeah, they hang out, talk policy.
So
shoot
according
shit
to
all.
Explore space.
Wikipedia, Andromeda is scheduled for Q1 2017 with an initial release date of March 2017. So I guess it's not confirmed. It's
Yeah,
just
I'm kind
so-
of curious about how. Okay, these games are going to be made to be playable on not just 4K machines, but legacy machines, the current generation PS4 and like the Xbox consoles. So the major difference between the two, really, though, is going to be texture size. For 4K, you're going to need much larger textures to make everything not look crappy when it's at a higher resolution. That's going to eat up a lot of disk space. I wonder if you're going to have to. Assuming physical media is still going to continue to be a thing, I wonder if you're going to have to like download a expanded
4K
texture pack.
Well,
Yeah.
that is the interesting thing about a lot of that too is that we're already like we're kind of bumping the edge of Blu-ray capacity, right? So
maybe.
Are we? I mean, I thought they were something like 40
Like
gigabytes.
I think it's
Is that
50
changed?
to 100 dual layer. It's something
Yeah.
to do with the dual layers.
You're right.
Dual
Dual
layer.
layer throws me off a little bit, but with 4K textures, then theoretically being 4 times the size of a 1080p texture, would we be looking? I mean, like games are already insane. We're talking about 50 gigabyte game downloads, and that's just without thinking about it. Are we looking at 200 now?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, they're going to be twice the size at least, right?
It depends on how they decide to optimize. I mean, with texture sizes are not necessarily scalable exactly at resolution. So just because you go from 1080 to 4K doesn't mean necessarily every texture needs to make that transition, especially if they're repeatable. You can probably build in some tricks around the shaders to tweak it so that it looks 4K and is okay at 4K with your like secondary textures. But like your hero textures, yeah, you're going to need 4K representations at reasonably unpixelated quality, near to lossless as you can get. So
That said, there are a lot of games on PC now that support 4K that are not noticeably larger in overall disk space than their 1080p counterparts.
I would imagine some of those are just skating by with not really updating to 4K textures.
Like upscaled, kind of.
Pretty much. I mean, you can get away with it. But if you want to start making true 4K content that really makes use of being at 4K, you're going to have to update all your assets to accommodate for that.
Okay,
that's
so
big.
confirmation, and I apologize to people that are listening to this like days after when I'm sure everything is very settled, but the PS4 Pro will not include 4K Blu-ray support.
Okay.
Period.
So
End of discussion.
Period.
screw you,
Full
whoever's
stop
lying to me
for
on
the
Twitter
European.
and trying to make me look stupid.
But it's just like an article went up, apparently was mistaken, pulled it back down.
Okay, there we go.
So that
Just like the Elite controller at Target.
yeah, I mean the event only ended like an hour ago, so this sort of thing is going to probably continue.
Oh, let's make
for
a
little
wild
while.
rumor real quick.
Oh, okay. Rumor: the PS4 Pro
Yeah.
is going to.
Play Xbox games.
That's a good one.
you
I'm
go.
going to say you can use the top slot as a stapler.
That might work.
Someone really liked that.
Hey, there you.
I would say it's going to make the most delicious club sandwiches in the world.
It already is a club
the
sandwich.
Foreman,
It's
it used to look like a
it's
Foreman
also a
grill.
panini
Yeah.
press.
So
There you go.
You just
That's
like
it.
You can use
open
the
it
heat.
up.
That's how you cool it. You cook food with it. This is a great idea.
Bacon dissipates the heat.
Sandwich
they
cooling.
like their systems looking like grills because the PlayStation 3 looked like a George Foreman grill.
It
Let's not
did.
forget that.
So this way,
or
you
like a
don't
Weber.
need to. You never need to leave your console. It will also feed you.
It nourishes your soul
I
and
like where it's
body.
going. It's
in-
actually extra helpful for when you're in VR.
In a future update, you'll be able to download food packs
Food packs through
and
the internet.
3D print your food.
Into your mouth.
into your
DLF,
mouth.
downloadable food.
Yeah.
Do you think, okay, so the $400 price point, do you think they had to control that pretty tightly just because they're also going to try and sell you a PlayStation VR on top of that?
Yes, I think that one of the things that has them getting this out right now, as opposed to waiting a little bit longer and beefing it up even more with more time as the price of technology comes down, is that this will be a huge help for PlayStation VR. They didn't talk about VR a lot in the in the conference, but they did mention that PlayStation VR will have better frame rates with the Pro. It's still really hard to say Pro. I would just want to call it the Neo.
I didn't realize until today that they were using all Matrix code names because VR was Morpheus and then the Pro was Neo.
See, I also like Morpheus as a name. I think that's
I know.
really awesome.
Yeah.
That never occurred to me, and you blew my mind when you said that earlier. So, yeah.
What would you say? Reenact this for us. What does Ryan's mind look like when it's being blown?
Pretty good. So and then the other thing that happened today, the other conference, of course, was the Apple conference, which, of course, traditionally does not matter at all for gaming. But they had Miyamoto up on stage announcing a new Super Mario game for
mobile.
iOS.
Well, it's also going to be on Android apparently.
That first for iOS
Eventually,
and then
yeah.
later for Android.
These stupid exclusives.
Jealous.
But I'm
Super Mario Run.
Just like
It's going to be all the rage for a week.
zombie DLC,
hey,
it's out
look,
right now.
Look,
and
if
you
a
can't
week
get it
is
for
all
30
they need
days.
to make hundreds of millions of dollars, I'm sure they'll take it.
Yeah.
Wait, that's the name, Super Mario Run?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So-
it's kind of along the lines of an endless runner, but not really.
Yeah.
Mario's got the one speed, and it's just like tap to jump and all that. You compete with friends for high scores, so
You're always running.
you're
You
always
can't
right.
stop. Yeah.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's with their philosophy. Like, it meets the philosophy that Nintendo is taking with mobile, which is that they don't want to perfectly replicate their console experiences. They want to complement them and get people interacting with their IP and with their franchises, and then get them to like step it up to proper consoles and hardware. Like I like the most interesting thing, the most interesting early test for that is going to be sales of Pokemon Sun and Moon after the success of Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Because the 3DS sales, I think I recall hearing, went up after Pokemon Go came out and became a huge success. I think it's because it reconnected a lot of older Pokemon fans with the franchise, and now they're getting back into it.
Yeah,
and I think they're hoping to do the same thing with Mario.
So I think that that was probably the biggest shock of the Apple conference, honestly, was seeing Miyamoto come out onto stage and do this presentation. And when he was talking about it, you mentioned that it's an endless runner. He mentioned as one of the features that you can play the game one-handed. Then he gave examples of what you could do with your other hand while playing the game. He said you could use your hand and hold on to while you're on the subway car, or you could eat a hamburger. It's like, that's a weird thing to say.
Yeah.
I was like, or you could just masturbate.
Yeah. Play with flops.
Jump.
I mean, that's like what if that becomes like a challenge? Like, who can get the best time while also masturbating?
Who makes it
Isn't
there
that what
first, Mario or me? Let's go.
Who
You beat
finishes,
Luigi.
Finishes
who
first.
finishes first? Damn it, I was so close. Ben one time on Twitter is correcting me. He says 4K is a little bit more than 2 times 1080p, not 4. That is correct. I get thrown
It's
off
like
with the move from like
2,100 or
720 to 1080.
No, it's about 4
Is it
because
4?
you're not just going.
It is
top and
technically
bottom.
called Quad HD.
Right.
So it depends, though, on the 4K standard you're talking
Right,
about.
there are multiple standards. Typically, it's much closer to 4 than 2.
Okay,
thought
suck
the
it,
Ps
Ben.
were like
one
2,000.
time.
You're right. That is true for the vertical scan lines, but then there's
P is
also
just progressive, yeah.
the horizontal.
Yeah.
I was looking at 8K recently. Where's the 8K systems?
Dude,
What knows that?
That's
we're
that's
not
actually-
ready.
It'll actually be coming out soon. The 2020 Tokyo Olympics are going to be broadcast over the air in an 8K resolution.
No shit.
Nintendo
bro.
Yeah.
was on
Yeah.
that too.
It's gonna be
the,
the
the closing
first
ceremony.
8K.
ceremony.
Yeah,
I don't
love
want to
that.
see
They're everywhere.
that
The Tokyo Olympics are gonna be fun.
resolution on a human. I don't want to look at a human
Oh,
in
yeah.
8K.
I'm not ready for 8K.
It's worse than looking at a human in real life, right? I mean, when you somehow putting that on a screen with the lighting and everything, it's just like
Too
here
much.
is
too much.
it's way too
It's
much.
like looking at someone
What's
under a
this?
microscope.
What
was
how
that?
much P we on here?
That's
How many-
that's
we're-
just a 1080.
1080.
Yeah, we're at 1080p. That's all the P's we need.
That's it. That's good.
Yeah.
YouTube will actually play 8K, but the only
Oh, really?
I think so. It doesn't run well.
Wow.
And the only scenario I've seen it useful in, and maybe I'm just thinking 4K, is 360 video, because that's where you're still only looking at,
A portion.
even at 8K, you're not looking at a lot. You're maybe 720. It was filling your screen, but it's much better than if you're running a 1080 video in 360.
I see an article here from about a year ago that is headlined, 8K video arrives on YouTube. Good luck trying to play it.
Yeah, I think there was like one video, and it was the 360 video, and it was just like an airport. And I couldn't play it on our work connection here, which is pretty fast on a computer with a pretty good graphics card.
8K or Full Ultra HD,
Full ultra.
FUHD
Yep.
for those of you keeping track at home. Oh, that's crazy.
I like how we invited one of the foremost like Xbox players to talk
And
about
spent the whole time
PlayStation
talking
and
about
Apple.
Well, today
I'm
was
just here trolling. That's
Yeah,
all.
that's cool.
Well, today was a
Fuck
big Sony day. A
PlayStation.
lot of PlayStation news.
That's
Yeah,
true.
We can't
You came
control
on the
that.
wrong day.
Yeah.
Xbox has been a little bit quiet.
I haven't
lately.
played a PlayStation since like 2003.
I like PlayStation for their
Well,
exclusives.
well, do I have the perfect segue for you then?
Hey,
Firewatch is coming out to the Xbox One.
It is.
Is it next month? This month. And they're going to have a new mode available exclusively first on the Xbox One that's later going to come to the PS4 and PC.
Exclusively
You made the
first.
same face I made when I heard Firewatch had a new
Okay.
mode. What mode?
yeah, what mode?
Yeah.
Like how do you add a mode to that game?
Wait, so do we not know what it is?
Hold on.
hold on.
Okay,
I do know. Do you want to guess?
Story mode?
No, it's already a story mode.
I'm in one that actually added one.
I like this. I like the
Okay,
story.
now the what?
That was clearly not delivered cuttingly enough. I apologize.
Oh, I get it now. Yeah, you didn't like. I forgot you didn't like the ending. The only thing that would make sense to me to tack into that game is like some kind of survival mode.
Multiplayer, co-op,
Battle mode. I don't
What?
even know what the game is.
Survival.
Yeah.
versus. Who
Against
can burn
what?
down more
You
forests?
just live. No verses. You just live like Minecraft. You just live on the mountain.
It's free
Forever.
roam.
free roam.
Free roam.
So you can explore the park and just take pictures.
Can you not do that already?
Well, it's like with no
Sorta.
time or like without failing a
okay,
quest
gotcha.
or anything like that.
It'd
You
be
can
like
just-
Dead Rising, where you no longer have to worry about people calling you all the damn time.
Right.
Got it.
Just turn off all objectives and just go out and wander.
Just
It seems like
silence your phone mode.
I'm kind of sad that I don't get to now wander around eating pine cones, to be honest.
I'm sure
Pine
you can
cones.
try and eat pine
sound
cones.
good.
If you can you eat pine cones?
you just put
Are
some
those
peanut butter
edible?
on them.
All I remember is I stole that dude's candy bar that I found in the stand.
Well, yeah,
I mean, who wouldn't?
right. That's what it's there for.
I bet that'll be an easy 1,000 for you though. Whenever it comes
Yeah,
around.
so
Hopefully.
that's why I bring it up. It's a fairly short game, 5
Yeah.
hours maybe, if that.
We played a game for Game Club for this month called Never Ending Nightmare. It came out on No, it hasn't come out for
PS4's
Xbox.
not on Xbox yet.
Potentially will come out on Xbox One. It'll be the most depressing 1,000 gamer score you ever
Most
get.
depressing. What happens?
It's not. No, look.
Bad
Maybe you
stuff.
get the
Dies.
happy ending.
Bad stuff.
No, there could be good stuff.
It's like even getting to the happy ending is pretty. Well, it's
all
not
right,
my
it
Game Club. It's
starts with you
fine.
murdering someone.
Maybe
Agree to disagree.
Probably
might be a dream.
Yeah, you don't know.
could be
Anyway.
psychosis.
Yeah, we'll talk at length about it
In Game
during
Club.
Game Club, which is immediately after the patch. Then one of the other stories I want to talk about, I just have a list of a few things, is someone...
Did you make your own patch notes?
I did.
As opposed to the other patch
Yeah.
notes? Okay.
I
I
have
was like,
my-
where's all this coming
He's too
from,
cool.
Gus?
I have my old... I
We
like
don't
the
have
old
patch
format.
notes.
Okay,
I'm-
fine.
They
I'm-
email them to me.
I'm a...
Gus is
I'm a
rebelling
stickler
here.
for the old way. So someone on YouTube decided to try to walk halfway around a planet in No Man's Sky to determine what the size of planets on No Man's Sky
Like,
are.
how long would it take to traverse the planet?
Did he pick a small one?
Circumnavigate.
He picked one that met certain criteria. And he sets this up at the beginning. You know, the game is broken because you can't set your own waypoints.
Right,
There's no
yeah,
real
it's incredibly
compass.
broken
So
on
he picked a
navigating.
decently sized planet where he could see other planets in the sky to help kind of guide him. That way he knew he was walking in a certain direction. And he ended up estimating it was about 11 hours and 50 minutes to walk halfway around the planet. And he extrapolated that if you're walking at 3.1 miles an hour, that means that the planet was about 74 miles in diameter,
Oh,
Huh.
which
a little
is
planet.
tiny. But there were some problems, and he admits it. Like, he has another, like, making of video where he talks about, like, well, there's really no waypoint system. I kind of just had, to try to do this. And then he gets, like, a quarter of the way around a planet, then starts trying to use a speed mod to finish it. And then that just kind of screws things up a little bit. But he got a solid quarter done, and then kind of further extrapolated
just by
from there.
judging from the positions of the other planets.
Yes.
Well, it's kind of okay. While it's shitty that it was a small planet, and hey, I know everybody likes to not like No Man's Sky right now. The cool thing is that he could actually do that.
Yes.
That he could
That
circumnavigate.
That he could look up and judge by positions of astrological bodies where he was on that planet. That's cool.
Yes.
Yes.
But
It's not just a skybox.
yeah, well,
People do
it's
weird things in this game.
It may,
Very weird
maybe.
things.
That's about all there is to do in that game. It's just would it be weird.
Well, let
Just
me
get real weird.
Let me
with
burst
it.
your bubble a little bit then.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it were a real planet that he was using for navigation, the planet
would be
would have been moving.
Well, in
The
11
ol-
hours,
the only-
may not have gone
like,
far.
But how fast
there was
exactly?
movement, but the only movement was from him walking. The planet rose and went over instead of drifting
That's
in
fair.
another side
There
as
is
well.
no orbital path for these things.
Correct. It was just there.
I mean, that said, I don't think we need, in that game, you don't need a planet to actually be real size. You just need to be able to wander around as much as you like
Right.
on
Nobody's
any
going
given
to
planet.
do that.
Right. It's like if you can walk it for 24 hours in that direction before you come back to where you were, that's fine.
I wonder, did he pick a smaller planet or was it one of the bigger ones?
It seemed like it was in the middle. It didn't seem
Okay. He picked an
anything,
average
there was nothing
Joe
extraordinary
planet.
about it. He also had to use a mod. He's obviously playing on PC. If he's using mods. He had to use a mod to stop resource consumption, so he didn't have to constantly collect resources and feed his life support system. So I mean, there was also that. I don't think that would affect
No.
really his speed. He was just trying to get through, and it was interesting. I thought it was an interesting idea.
Yeah. On a related note, did you guys see No Mario Sky? the
Briefly.
fan mashup that some people put out. So I don't know if it was like a statement or just, I think they did it for a game jam, honestly, where some indie developers took the idea of this procedurally generated game and then applied it to Mario. So Mario has a ship. He can fly around. He can land on a planet, and then that planet is a procedurally generated kind of Mario level. It's really cute, actually. It's a kind of an ingenious idea and a very fun implementation. Immediately DMCA'd by Nintendo.
No surprise.
No, which is not remotely surprised. The developers
Just stop calling it
knew
Mario.
It was coming, and
They also called the enemies Goombas.
and they immediately just like changed the name of the game to DMCA Sky anyway. Like they knew it was coming.
And
Yeah.
then they changed the enemy
They're
name
not
from
too- they're not
Goombas
too
to
fussed about it.
Moombas.
Yeah.
Yeah, all you have to do is call it Molido or anything. Just change a couple letters,
Right.
and then you're avoiding the trademark.
Pig Latin
It's
Mario.
really cute.
There you go.
Look at him in space.
Let's see.
So like it's actually a lot of fun, but that's only one of the games that Nintendo's gone after recently. You know, it was a while back they went after Pokemon Uranium, the fan game that was developed by fans for like 9 years. But last week they actually issued a DMCA takedown notice to 562 fan games on this site
Damn.
called Jolt, which is like a hub for fan games specifically. Games that were, I guess, infringing on, I think it was Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon specifically. Like games that people had made like that. Or there was one, someone made an Undertale Legend of Zelda mashup. Like the Undertale characters, like Sans came into the Legend of Zelda world. And it's just, you know, kind of fun, cheeky stuff like that. And people were really upset about it because... you know, there's like their fan games. They worked really hard on this. Just let them do what they want. Meanwhile, Nintendo's trying very hard to protect their trademarks.
Yes.
All right, fans. I have a solution for you. This will solve all your problems from now on.
Everyone listen up.
Everybody focus
Listen
in.
close.
Okay.
Get a piece of paper if you need to.
As a community, Nintendo fans, you guys need to just agree to some generic, non-trademark infringing versions of these characters like Lario and Luigi.
Princess Mango.
There you go. Make it a canon so that everybody, because the problem with it, if everyone individually is like, I'm going to call it Lario, I'm going to call it Marie.
Maria?
There you go. Marie. Is how do you search for it? Like I want to find maybe I want to find a Mario game that's not made by Nintendo. How do I find it?
I want to... Said nobody ever.
Apparently there was 562 games full of that content.
All right.
Well, I mean, I actually get the fan games to some degree. It's I look at it a little bit like game mods, where it's a way for indie developers to kind of cut their teeth in development using frameworks that are already there.
Yeah.
So whether they're kind of recreating and using the genre tropes and physics and trying to emulate a game that already exists in order to learn how that all works.
It's like training wheels for
Yeah,
it's
developers.
like training wheels.
Well, that's great. Just as a community, come up with a standardized set of those not trademark infringing characters, and so we'll all know what you're really making a game about.
Yeah,
You'll know what you're making a game about. We'll know what
after
you're
you
making a
say
game
it,
about.
you go, wink.
Yeah, exactly.
Wink.
Wink. That's it. That's all you have to do. And then they can't take your game down anymore until they figure out a way to legally do it.
Well, even so, they may have no interest in it. There's a game called Escape from Lavender Town, which is like a creepypasta Pokemon fan game that was fine because it doesn't say Pokemon.
It was
They
fine
don't-
for
like
not saying
Lavender.
It was fine.
No, it's fine.
It was fine for not
Yes.
saying Pokemon. Okay.
You know, because Lavender Town is a town in Pokemon. It is a thing, but it's not saying Pokemon Escape from Lavender Town.
There you go.
So they just left it off.
Yep.
Just keep a very tangential connection to your source material, but not exact copying.
Yes.
I wonder, like, you know what would be fun is like the Nintendo Extended Universe.
The NEU?
The NEU, exactly, yes. They can call it just NEU.
No. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's bad.
Because it's got Nintendo in it.
Because then Nintendo's like, once Nintendo, let's say, okay, fans create this alternate universe where we have Lario, and Lario has a bunch of games. And Maria that are doing great. And then Nintendo's like, hey, we're going to incorporate all your hard work into our fan, extended universe. Now it's trademarked. Now it's all ours. DCMA at all.
DMCA.
DCMA.
whatever.
DCMA, all
Take
of
that
it.
shit. Take that shit.
Speaking
down.
of Nintendo, am I the only one that wants them to go like third party? Like console?
Or away.
They make
Or away.
They're one of the only platforms that tends to make money on their hardware, and the 3DS, even though it's not selling as well as it used to, is still a huge moneymaker for them. I don't see them giving up their hardware business.
That's because they package a TI-82 into
console
a
only,
console
maybe.
shell and sell
Console
it for
only, maybe?
$200.
Right, and then they can sell you every game they've ever made on it through emulation, like through their virtual console.
Here's the thing.
It's brilliant.
It's a great hook because what they do is they just resell new consoles to successive generations of people that already could afford it back in the day. You're just selling it to people that are already grown up and they're like, oh, now it's nostalgia. And it's like those people that have nostalgia have the money to buy the console again. So it's a market of people with money.
It's great.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
Yeah, I want to read this here.
All right.
I want to remind everyone this episode of The Patch is also brought to you by NatureBox. I could really go for some NatureBox right now. Tired of eating the same bland food while trying to stay healthy? NatureBox has over 100 snacks for that. Making smarter choices doesn't mean you have to eat boring food. NatureBox makes snacks that are full of flavor and none of the junk. NatureBox makes over 100 ridiculously delicious snacks that they source from all over the world for you to choose from. They have great ones like lemon tea biscuit, jalapeno cashews. Those are really good. NatureBox makes it really easy to find the snacks you want without questioning what's in them. Plus, they're constantly adding new and interesting snacks for you to discover. NatureBox believes you shouldn't eat something you don't like, so if you try a snack you don't like, they'll replace it in your next box for free. You can't do that with your other snacks. Go to naturebox.com/thepatch right now. Get 2 bags of delicious snacks without any of the junk for free. That's naturebox.com/thepatch for 2 bags of free snacks. We love our NatureBox here at Rooster Teeth. Oh my God.
It's a nature box.
NatureBox.
And it
got the
it just showed
snacks.
up. Oh,
Do
is
we
it
get anything
sealed?
good?
No, it's not sealed. Okay, good. What do we got?
Thank you.
Double berry fruit peels. I haven't seen those before.
What?
Whole wheat blueberry figgy bars. Those are good.
Those are good.
The peanut butter nom noms. Those are always really popular.
You notice that Gus is not sharing them around.
Yeah.
not
Whole
handy.
wheat
He's like,
vanilla animal cookies.
later.
And Thai
Later.
coconut curry peanuts. Oh, that sounds really good. Here, sorry.
Yeah, that's.
The nom noms are staying here though.
Oh,
I'll share them in a bit.
I'm gonna
I'm
try.
getting really
nom.
hungry.
I'm gonna try the animal cookies.
oh, damn it. That's what I was going for.
What we got here?
I'll
There's
pass
no
them down
Diet
in a
Coke
second.
in
Ryan.
There's no Diet
There
Coke.
might be.
I'm
No.
going to impolitely chew one of them,
Fig
and then
bars.
I will.
Oh,
pass
stick
them
the
Crunch
nom
it
noms because they're
loud.
not crunchy.
I have no such manners.
Pass it down.
Something just fly across the room. Oh, yeah. Give me that. Okay.
Feel much better now.
So I can definitely see the appeal of Nintendo as a third-party developer. I wouldn't say that Sega is a great example of that happening, and I'd be worried that something similar would happen where once they have less control over, like, they still have control of their games, but once they have less control of like the hardware and everything, because like they seem to develop pretty tightly for their hardware experiences,
Oh.
that they would, I don't know, like either just resort to like re-releasing all their old stuff and not make new stuff, or that the quality would go down.
Well, we'll
And I don't
see. I
wanna
mean,
that
Super
happen.
Mario Run is an initial example of them making software to run on another platform, on other
It's true.
hardware.
That's very true.
But I mean, that being said, I feel like the Apple ecosystem is a lot more is very tightly controlled, much like a console.
Oh, yeah.
Which is probably why they're launching there first, as opposed to Android, where your hardware is a little more fragmented.
Fits
It's maybe
in
a little more
very
difficult
well
to
with the
optimize.
Nintendo philosophy. Apple and Nintendo are very similar in their
Is
approach to
Apple
them.
big in Japan?
That's a good question.
I'm not really sure.
When the last time I was there, it seemed like I saw quite a few iPhones. I mean, during the Apple conference today, they announced specifically that they're adding a Japanese NFC spec to iPhones sold there for payment and contactless. That's only used in that region. So I would assume it's a big enough region to warrant a custom unit just for that.
And enough to
Huge
announce
there.
that with their main iPhone 7 announcement.
And have Miyamoto come out on stage. But I guess that Nintendo as a brand has enough crossover between the countries.
Did you notice anything about the? I mean, I didn't catch the specs on the iPhone 7. Was there anything in particular about it that lends itself to mobile gaming that might be kind of?
I mean, they did the typical buzzword stuff. CPU's 40% faster.
They're like, it's as
graphics,
powerful as a console.
But how many teraflops?
graphics processing, I want to say, was 50% increased. So, I mean,
So many percentages.
and they actually did have a gameplay demo, and they talked specifically about games for a little while, which I want to say is a little unusual. I mean, they've touched on gameplay every now and then, but it's definitely not something that comes up every time.
I feel like they use games in that context just because games are something that are understood to require a lot of power to run well, even by anyone who's remotely tech savvy. So they go, look at how well it does games. That means everything else is also very good. because they're not going to be like, look how awesome we do Excel.
Yeah, it can run Doom.
Although I was
5
really
minutes.
excited the other day because I realized that Excel on my Mac finally upgraded to a 64-bit edition. I was so happy because I have like one spreadsheet that's like a nightmare. It's like pushing the memory limit on
Dude,
32-bit.
the word limit is twice the size.
I know. I'm never gonna have trouble with that spreadsheet again.
Get some
Numbers.
pivot tables or whatever they're called.
Yeah. The problem, honestly, with the 32-bit version is you only had a certain number of rows you could get to before you ran out of memory, and now don't have to worry about that anymore.
Wow.
That is some exciting stuff.
I
guys.
almost
Excel.
tweeted about it. I was so happy when I saw like the little splash screen. It's like Excel 64-bit. I was like, yes.
You know, I caught part of the Apple thing, and they were talking about, there's a whole section on some kind of like first time this is a live collaborative spreadsheet thing. I was like, who the hell would want to see this? Now I know.
No, the
That-
spreadsheet. It was a collaborative like PowerPoint.
Oh, even
Yeah,
better.
Nobody gives a fuck about that.
he's the guy.
Spreadsheets, though, yeah.
Collaborative PowerPoint.
Those PowerPoint nerds. Get out of here.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even
Jerks
power. It was like their
with their
version.
design
I think
sense
it's
or
called
whatever.
Pages.
Right.
Yeah, it was their version of it, which I don't use.
One other topic I wanted to bring up for this week that's kind of been a hot button issue is, I don't know how familiar you guys are with Ark Survival Evolved.
Oh,
So it is an early access game from Wildcard Studios. It's it's a survival multiplayer game. You can tame dinosaurs and ride them and stuff, which is awesome. But it's an early access game. It's been out for
December. It came out
what's your
December.
gamer score in that game?
0. It doesn't
Zero?
have any.
Oh, it doesn't have.
It's still in game preview.
They don't-
Some of
that's right, they don't have
Some of them
achievements.
do, but that one hasn't yet. I think it's gonna have some soon. But
Okay.
Don't you get those with the DLC that they just put out?
do you?
Which is,
Wait.
Maybe. You
oh my
probably
god,
right.
I
could
hope
be
not.
true.
Yeah.
Oh no. But yeah, the thing is, it's early access. The game's not done. It's not published, but they just released paid DLC for it anyway.
Well,
How much is the paid DLC? Just out of curiosity.
$20.
20.
Damn.
we gotta
So-
imagine a game like that in the game preview. It's gonna sell more when it comes out than it will when it's actually released because it's already in the store.
Right.
And most people are gonna be like, I'm gonna buy the game. Like it sold like 1 million or something on Xbox. So like when they actually come out with the game, how many people are gonna buy it then when they're like, it's done now? So now they just holding on to people's money and can do what they want. So what you're saying, the DLC is kind of a big fuck you to everybody.
I think it's a little bit shady business because
That seems really
the,
shady.
The game is
How much is the original game?
the original game. It was on sale on Steam earlier this week. Let me see.
Well, on okay, yeah, no.
So let me
Let's
see
say
its
not on
regular
sale, though.
price.
Like
it's
it-
about 30.
30?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, its normal price is something like 30.
So, well, here's a thought. Okay, so let's say
But right
it's
now it's
30.
18.
Right now it's 18. Normally it's 30. The DLC is 20. So $50. That's about standard for a full game price.
Right.
If they were to then release it eventually, at which they have indicated that the DLC brings them very close, or at least close to a workable release version.
It was weird the way they
It was oddly phrased.
said it though. The way
Yeah.
it was phrased made it seem like the polish level of the DLC
Yeah.
and the like the smoothness of the gameplay, that kind of thing was what they intended for the finished game. It didn't seem to say the content.
That's fair.
It didn't seem to say that like that was intended for their full release, that it was DLC, but will play much more like what the retail release should play
So
like.
okay,
Well, hang on.
I have not played Ark.
Wait, before you do that, let me finish what I was
Okay.
going to
Okay.
ask though. So, $30 for that, $20 for the DLC. That's a
Yep.
standard game price between the two of them. Let's say then turn around and release the game that includes both components at $50 or $49.99, which is typical Steam full game purchase price. So, is it still a bad deal then because you're getting a full game?
I wouldn't find that to be unreasonable. What I find to be a little bit shitty is that this is a game. The philosophy of early access, right, is that people can pay their money ahead of time, have access to the game as it's being developed, and the developers are then pre-funded with the game. They're receiving money to make the game that they're working on, as
Right.
opposed to funding it themselves and then making the money back.
Right, it's
Well,
like
this-
they're double dipping essentially.
Yeah, they're double dipping.
But there's a bigger question there, though. So, again, just taking it back to the price. If they were selling the original game for $30, That's less than what they would probably sell it for if they just went straight to a full game release. I would assume they would sell it for a standard $49.99. So, is there an obligation for people that are doing early access to sell a game for less than they would make if they sold it as a finished product?
I don't think
it's
there's any
actually
obligation for that necessarily.
No, it's very common actually for early access games to get more expensive as they get close to launch because the people who
Because of
are
Minecraft,
purchasing
let's
it
be honest.
then, well, yeah,
Yeah.
people are getting more content and it's a more finished experience. And so they start low with the price to bring in those kind of early adopters who are willing to tolerate it rough. And then the price goes up as the game gets closer to a launch version and therefore launch price. No problem with that. But it concerns me that they set aside resources like the time and people to work on this other DLC using funding from people who were paying them to work on the main game.
Yeah, don't you feel if you buy into this game to begin with, you would get any and all updates?
Not necessarily.
You
I
don't
don't.
think so?
I don't
In
have
a
a
game
problem with
preview?
DLC
They-
specifically. I just feel like they should have waited to start work on something until they finished the game that people were
That makes more
funding.
sense.
Yeah,
right.
essentially, they've pre-ordered a game that is still not finished, and then they're now trying to be marketed and sold like another thing as well.
Well, that's again, I'm inclined to agree with that. I just am, if it was a messaging issue about how they ordered it, it could have made sense to me that if they are still working towards what their ideal finished game was, that may be including the original and the DLC, what they're calling DLC at this point, and they're going to sell it for a price that is the aggregate of the two. They may have badly missed on the messaging of that, but I could see how that is potentially just them delivering on the game that will be a finished product.
I'm sorry, badly message. Hold on. You
Oh,
say
God.
that
What
one of the
has
developers
happened?
responded.
No, stop talking, developer. I almost bailed you out of that shit.
No, this is not going to work.
Retroactively close your damn mouth.
Go talk to your marketing department.
Hold
They
on.
have people who are
See.
trained for this.
Hold on. The sum of this is your entire post screamed of rage because you were too cheap to pony up $20 for a game worth $60, which we undercharged for in the first place.
I mean,
Oh,
that's what I
shit.
was getting at, but still, you don't have to say it like an
Yeah.
asshole. You did undercharge for your game initially. The game that you're going to eventually deliver, I would hope, would be worth $60 or $50 if you're typically selling things on the not on a marketplace that's going to take a larger chunk. Though I don't know, Steam probably takes a pretty good bite out of things too.
I imagine they do.
It's just like this kind of thing makes me, one, it bothers me that it feels like they're double dipping with people who've already funded them on an unfinished product. But two, that it makes it feel like they're only staying in early access to screen themselves from criticism. Because
interesting
people
point.
will give early access games a pass on stuff that doesn't play well. Like the game is not amazingly optimized on PC. A lot of people have trouble running it even on good hardware. And that's fine because it's early access. But it's not so early access that they didn't start working on DLC for it.
Here's a real conspiracy theory. Do you think they're just keeping it in early access and hoping that graphics hardware catches up to the point where it's optimized
That
without
they
them
just
having
don't
to do
have
any
to
work?
optimize.
Yeah, it's like, it runs great now.
The-
That might be the case. Maybe they're waiting for the PS4 Pro and the Scorpio, and they're like, hey,
yeah.
problem solved. No need for
I don't,
further optimization.
I don't think that's made it to PlayStation yet, has it?
Oh, has it not?
No,
Arc has it? Really?
don't-
It's on Xbox.
I don't know if
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, it's on Xbox.
It's on. I don't think it's on
let me look up.
PlayStation just yet. But what I meant was when it's still in game preview and you buy and you pay into that, I think you should get any and all updates. Not, I mean, if it,
I would agree
if
with
it's
that.
up
Like up
until
to the launch point.
and then they bring out some more stuff,
Right.
then you got to pay in. But
I could see
as
that.
it's still being made, you think you would get all the content.
Yeah, I would-
Anything
I would
that
agree with that.
Your money has paid to make.
Right.
So it is.
Assuming that all their money is coming
PlayStation
from
4,
crowdsourcing,
right.
which it may not be.
and I don't know if it's out already, but it says that it is coming to PlayStation 4, and the game will launch with support for PlayStation VR.
Interesting. Wow. Okay.
It's, let's see, scheduled for release
Does the
on
current
PlayStation 4
art have VR support?
in 2016.
It says the
like
game will
for-
launch with support for Oculus Rift and PlayStation VR. So
But
I don't
it
know if
hasn't
it's in
launched.
there yet. Right.
Maybe they're again. There could be any number of reasons.
Maybe
they're
they
holding on
maybe they
launch.
just needed $20 extra from everybody.
Well, okay. I mean, to give them a little bit of a break, they did just settle a lawsuit for $40 million.
Ooh.
Oh, got to pay those lawyers.
So,
Harsh.
because the lady who runs the studio is married to a guy who left his former studio, and they accused him of violating his non-compete
Oh, damn.
and setting her up as the head of this company while he secretly worked on this game that he wasn't supposed to be working on. So they settled the lawsuit for, I think his former employer was going for like hundreds of millions, but they settled for 40 million.
This is a valuable dude.
But, well, I mean, it's...
Boy, his brain space.
Let me look up what
That's some
the
gray
guy
matter.
worked on before, because it's actually, the previous studio was not huge, and I think Ark is a much bigger success, so which I think is why the studio is going
So you're
after
saying
them.
that he really was the talent then?
Man, screw Einstein. We need this guy's brain in a jar somewhere.
While you look that up, we're almost out of time, so while you look that up, there was one other story I wanted to mention real fast. The Lindsay Lohan lawsuit against Rockstar finally done, finally thrown out. It's not her, it's someone else. So I think it went all the way up to like a state Supreme Court before they finally said no. And
The only
Can we
thing I'll
talk shit
say
about her, or will she sue us?
No, she might. No,
Okay.
she's really desperate for about any money she can get at this point. The one thing I'll say about that is I thought that was ridiculous, but I guess she posted a picture of her doing a very similar pose. I don't know if the picture existed before the art was done, but it was enough where I was like,
it's a generic enough pose.
it's a
too.
completely generic pose. The face does not look anything
No.
like her, but you could see like maybe someone was like, oh, I'll just copy that pose to make this art. But it's, again, not anywhere in the realm of close enough likeness to be actionable
and
as a suit.
not a unique pose by
No.
any stretch of the
Not
imagination.
a unique pose. I think, well, her main argument was, too, not just the pose, but that the character followed some
Right.
elements of her life. Like, remember the time Lindsay Lohan was caught getting bungholed over
In a hotel courtyard,
picnic
and then
table.
got in the high-speed
and
car
then got
chase.
in a high-speed chase.
Yeah, we all
that's-
remember that.
Everyone remembers that,
Is that
right?
the mission where you're chasing her down with the camera?
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
filming her?
that one.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
everyone
No,
remembers
that's not
that.
Lindsay
No,
Lohan.
that's not
the
Lindsay
state
Lohan. No,
Supreme
no,
Court
no.
has said that is not Lindsay Lohan.
Well, based on our earlier advice, all they would have had to do is change her name to like Minzy Mohan.
There you go. Then
and
you're
it would
fine.
have been fine.
Not trademarked.
Did you find the old studio?
I did. So the old studio was trendy. They're the developers behind Dungeon Defenders, and they were arguing that Jeremy Stieglitz broke the non-compete clause of his contract by working closely on Ark Survival Evolved when he wasn't supposed to be working for anyone.
I mean, that's not a bad conspiracy theory that they really are kind of in financial straits having to dole out $40 million.
But it's still not it's still not good for the game.
It's not good for the industry. It's not good. Again, for all the devil's advocate I've been playing,
It's
I agree that it is not good step for the industry to
just
do this.
Launch the game. Just say
As you said,
we're
it
not
may
in early
not be
access
ready to
anymore.
launch.
I mean, that's
What's worse,
They're
to
looking-
launch a game and
okay.
have it completely be awful, or to hold it and maybe? I mean,
And we've talked
How long
about
can it
this
stay in
so
game
many
preview, though?
times.
it can stay in game preview as long as they want to
Jeez.
leave
Yeah.
it there, and it's
they
still a
just
playable
don't
game.
charge for that.
I agree, but at Devil's Advocate, it's still a playable game that a lot of people enjoy. That is worth more probably than they were charging for it initially, especially more than the $18 you can get it for on Steam right now. It's a good game. It's a valuable property that deserves to be successful. And if the company making it has to maybe do this to keep itself afloat because they've got themselves in a bad way, maybe it's not the worst thing in the world.
Maybe don't get super shitty at people who paid for your game already.
That is
And
absolutely
tell them
true.
that they're
Yeah.
cheapskates
Shut
for
your
not
damn
ponying
mouth.
up
Them whole.
for your DLC.
Close it.
Well, we're at time to wrap up.
That's a dragon sounds super cool.
So thanks for joining us, Ray.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And,
Thanks so much.
I've got a lot of achievements watching this podcast. Listening, watching. Yeah.
Well,
We're all learning
Well, then
together.
You can go back and watch
Yeah.
this one and get even more achievements. And so stay tuned. If you're watching this live right now, stay tuned for Game Club. Otherwise, if you're watching this on YouTube or on the website, then go look for Game Club. Never ending nightmare. Bye.
See you next week.
See ya.